taxonomy of what we expect the impact to be. So normally what do you have? You have a country of residence where the headquarters is located, and then you have a number of other countries, which can be the country where production takes place, where sales take place, and that can be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 25 countries. Doesn't matter for the purposes of our example. The reality is that in real life, in many of the schemes that we have seen, what you see is that there is something in between, with the interposition of usually an intermediate country which facilitates the investment, a hub, and then like a no or low tax jurisdiction where the income ends up ultimately. How does that happen? Well, first, in the market or production country, the aim is to avoid a taxable presence, the structures with commissioners that Marlies described, prepare their auxiliary activities, or, if there is a taxable presence, to minimize assets and risks that are allocated to this taxable presence. Then every payment that goes out usually goes out via favorable treaty jurisdiction, therefore with low or no withholding tax on the basis of the relevant treaty. And the income in that jurisdiction is very lightly taxed, either because deductions are maximized, because hybrid mismatch arrangements are used, or because there are preferential regimes in place that basically allow the income to be taxed at very low rates and be transferred to the ultimate intermediate company, usually in a non-tax jurisdiction, without any withholding tax at source. How? Maximizing assets and risks, usually under intra-group contracts in this jurisdiction. Finally, same planning usually strips the taxable base of the parent country, maximizing deductions, minimizing assets and risks, and in addition, avoiding the application of any applicable controlled foreign company regimes. I think by now it should be clear to most people what we have tried to do with the BEPS package. So if you take the work on permanent establishment, that's the impact that we are expecting. If you then add on top of that the work on transfer pricing, you see that basically it reallocates the income where it belongs. That is, where the economic activities are carried out and where value is created. How do you then prevent the use of deductions to strip the taxable base out? Is the work on Action 4 that Hakim has described in detail regarding interest deductibility. How do you prevent that payments that go out do not benefit from double tax treaties when conduit structures are interposed? Action 6 with the minimum standard. Add on top of that the work on Action 5 that basically, as Hakim has put it, has put a box around the box, in particular as regards preferential treatments on intangibles, and the work on hybrid mismatch arrangements, which effectively prevents double non-taxation due to lack of coordination between two different tax systems. On top of this, the recommendations, the best practices in the area of CFC rules, we do believe that the impact of the BEPS project is that basically those that want to continue to take aggressive position will have very little interest in doing so, because the financial benefit will not be there and because of the scrutiny that is out there. Scrutiny that will come out in particular from the Action 13 work on transfer pricing documentation, master file, local file, and the country-by-country reporting. Those that do not take aggressive position, in our expectation, will benefit from more certainty and more predictability. Why? Because the resources of tax administrations will be targeted on those that walk on the thin line between what's legal and what's not.
Rafa, thanks very much. Without further ado, I'm going to hand the floor right back to Grace to talk about what's next.